Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. I hope you're having a great week. It's been a very tumultuous week, but I'm here. You're here. We're here. It's Saturday. For those of you that are new here, this is Sat Chat. It's just basically a weekly wrap-up. What's going on in the crafty world? What's going on in the artsy world? What's going on with my world, your world? You know, it's not a tutorial. I don't know how it's going to go. It's a surprise to me every week. I don't even have a list of notes this week, so it's even extra random probably. I asked you guys about my lighting last week, and where I had forgotten to move my light over, and you're like, yeah, this is actually better because it's not so blindingly bright. So I'm leaving the lighting like it was last week. I think maybe one or two people said they preferred the other lighting was more flattering, the blast your wrinkles out light, which is when I have a ring light like down below, like shooting light beams up in my face like that to kind of like blast out the wrinkles, but it's also really bright. It's a little bit too bright. I have wrinkles. What can I do, you know? I'm not getting Botox, so yeah, I guess I'll just have to deal with that. You know what I hate? When like my kids use Snapchat. That's the only reason I have Snapchat. I just have like a little group with them. And anytime you open that up, it opens up your front-facing camera and you're always like looking down at your phone. It is like the scariest, worst like angle to possibly see yourself in a camera. Oh, I hate that. But anyway, enough of that. Oh gosh. Oh, my hair is freshly washed today, not like the greasy mess it was last. I guess not greasy. My hair doesn't really get greasy, but it was really dirty last week. I'm such a hobo. So last weekend I'd mentioned making my own oil sticks and working on perfecting a recipe for that, and I made a bunch more last weekend. I showed you last Sat Chat the short ones that I had made, and I did them in here, and oh my word, it made such a mess. I'm like, I was like afraid to bring these in here because of what a mess I made making the first batch in here. Actually ended up buying a new mat. I mean, mine was pretty gross. I've had it for like about 4 years. And Blick had a sale and they had their Art Pop mats on sale, like regular $60, which I don't think that's what they ever sell it for, but that's what they had for list. And they were on sale for like $12 or $14 or something, so I grabbed one. And so I was working in the other, making some more oil sticks. These are some of those anyways. I made quite a few, but I made some bit longer ones. I like this better because then there'll be less waste because you won't have like the little nubs. There won't be, you know, I was making those little short ones because I was doing them in here and I was using ice cube molds, the long like water bottle ice cube molds for them, and I was using my heat gun to heat up the stuff and mix them together with a palette knife and then scoop them into the molds. And that worked all right. But then I got our old pancake griddle out, which is never to be used with food again, and I went to the Dollar Tree and I got some muffin cups, the aluminum ones that are like disposable ones, and I cut them apart so I'd have like a pot for each color I wanted to use, and cut myself a couple times with the sharp aluminum. So, you know, I'll do a video on them once I think I've perfected the recipe, but yeah, I'll probably do a video on them. And yeah, I melted the stuff down in the muffin cups, and one muffin cup full was perfect for making one of these full-size sticks. And the full-size sticks, I took also at the Dollar Tree, you can get these, it's like a box of 100 parchment paper squares that are 5.5 by 5.5. They're meant for like separating like hamburgers or any sort of burgers that you want to freeze. So I took those, wrapped them around a tube, like a dowel, and taped them up with packing tape, and then I could pour the stuff that I melted right in there, my DIY oil stick mix, which was a mix of oil pastels, oil paint, beeswax, and linseed oil. And yeah, let them dry, let them cool basically, and then they're great. They're really great. And I've swatched everything, and some of the things I had swatched from the first batch, like, oh, these still haven't dried yet, and I melted some of them down and added some more linseed oil and some more wax and put them in the tubes. And then eventually, like a week later, I went to touch those swatches this morning, so this would have been like a week and a half after making them, and they're dry. So I guess I didn't need to do that, but I do like the longer sticks, and I would like to get them all kind of in that consistent format. Whether I have the patience to do that, well, we'll see. I guess it would depend on how popular the color is, how much I think I'm actually going to use it. But it's a great way to use up a bunch of old oil paint that sometimes, like, I found so many tubes of paint where I couldn't get the cap off. Even with my little gripper thing, I couldn't get the cap off, so I had to cut the bottom of the tube. Otherwise, it would have gone to waste. So, and indefinitely, they should be fine indefinitely like this. They'll form a skin, but the paint underneath will be good. And yeah, it'll be a way to use those up. And I was really enjoying them. I did a kind of like just a painting in the other room just to see, like applying it pretty thick because I'm curious how long it's going to take to dry. There are a couple red pastels which I'm not sure they're going to dry or not. I guess they probably would eventually because all the other ones did, but I would rather have them in a longer stick because it's more bright. It's more like a crimson, where this is kind of like a naphthol red. The other one is like more of a crimson. So I would love to have that in a longer stick rather than two short ones. And I love the consistency. I think I like making supplies as much as using them sometimes. And I've been in this, I don't know, wanting to be busy, wanting to clean, wanting to organize type of mindset. My dad's back in the hospital. And so this afternoon, Maisie and I are going to go down and see him. He got out of the hospital. I spent Monday down at Mom and Dad's visiting with him. And it was a great visit. He was still like under the weather because he's, been through a lot and he's tired. And then he had to go back in just for a routine appointment on Tuesday. And they're like, wait a minute, and come to find out he has pneumonia. And he's back in the hospital again. So that's not great. That's kind of stressful. And we're going to go see him today. Hopefully everything goes okay. But, he's elderly and with the complications, so many complications anyway, and to throw pneumonia on the mix is not great. But I'm trying to keep myself busy and yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do except for visit and hope for the best. So that's where that's at. If I don't get to comments, if I might not get. I'm gonna try, but I might not. I prioritize my Teachable School comments there, and then if anybody's having like an emergency, email obviously would be the best situation. But if you have a problem with a craft stash order, like the templates, if you had a cracked or broken template or something wrong with your craft stash order, email craft stash directly. I have to send anything that gets sent to me for like a template situation, a template inquiry or a template problem or order problem. I have to email it to them. I have to forward it to them anyway, so just reach right out to them directly. That will be the quickest way to get anything resolved, because we did have a lot of templates arrive broken, unfortunately. But they are offering refunds and replacements to any broken templates out there. But yeah, I just don't want to miss anybody. I don't want somebody to email me and then like it gets lost in the ether. Like I've just found some blog comments that were left about templates that I don't know if they had emailed as well, but it's just best to email because there's so many different areas online that I try to check, and I try to be good about like making the rounds. But right now, all bets are off. All bets are off. It's just a little hectic right now. Let's see what else. Michael's class, I mentioned that last week. I have a free class with Michael's next month. We're doing pumpkins. You can sign up for that. I'll put a link in the video description. And I have my Learn to Draw with Lindsay and my alcohol marker workshop on sale for Inktober through the end of the month, and I'll put that in the video description as well. Those classes are 40% off if you want to check them out. I totally bailed on Inktober this month. I've done it for like the last 5 years, and this month I was kind of on the fence whether I was going to do it or not, because I did World Watercolor Month and I completed the challenge. I did it every day, and I just didn't feel like I really got that much out of it. And so I'm like, well, maybe I won't do Inktober. I've got so much going on. And then with Dad getting sick like right at the beginning of the month, I was like, oh, I don't know. And then like, well, I'll just post something every day. And then this week I was like, you know what? Why? What's the point? Why? And I'm just like, you know what? No, if I don't have anything to post, I'm not going to force myself to have something to post. I know my hair looks so flat today. I just blow dried it too. I blow dried it and I used the big curling iron. It's my life is a mess right now, and it's manifesting itself on my hair. So yeah, total fail on that, but I don't even regret it. I don't feel bad. I'm just like, I'm just not doing it. It's not serving me. It's okay to reevaluate things in your life and change course when need be. And maybe next year it'll be the perfect time to do that challenge. Maybe I'll do a different challenge. Maybe, but you don't have to do things just because you've always done them, because that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So I decided to be done with that. And then another thing I decided to table or to postpone until next year is the Harvest Bounty gouache course that I was working on. And the reason why is because I really needed that ultimately that class should have gone out at the beginning of October to give people time, like, because it's 12 projects. I thought that would be perfect. 12 projects, people could do a calendar, like 12 9 by 12 projects. That would be perfect. It would be a beautiful calendar. People could paint it, they could have it printed off, they could give it as gifts, they could, you know, I was just thinking, like, and all the different things I wanted to add to it. I wanted to add little hand-painted boxes, and I wanted to show the designs on different things and have it really, like, you can make all these beautiful things. It'll be beautiful gifts, it'll be beautiful home decor. And I just my time got away from me. I got a late start with getting everything ready for Lila to go overseas for college, and then with Dad, it just got away from me. And there's no way I'll have it done by the end of the month, and then I would be releasing it in the middle of all the holiday stuff going on, and it would just get lost. It would get lost in the shuffle, and so I'm like, that is not the time for this idea. So I decided I'm going to postpone that and ideally release it in like the beginning of September next year, maybe the end of August. And that would coincide really well. It'd give me time to release that class before I leave to teach a workshop in Italy, because that I know that's going to, even though it's only a week away, or maybe it'll be a little longer than a week away probably, maybe we'll take a little time at the beginning or end of that trip just to have a little vacation. But I mean, it takes a long time. It took me quite a while to prep and recover from the France retreat this year. So I know I don't want to be cramming too much into that time. So if I can release that in the beginning of September next year, then that will give me almost 2 months before I leave for Italy to, get that first batch of launch students in, because I always launch my classes at 50% off so that people get the best deal. The first people to buy it get the best deal, not like wait like 4 months and then get a good deal. No, I want the first, the people that believe in me, they should have the best price. Yeah, that's where I have the biggest influx of students and the most time that I need to spend in the teachable in the school with everyone. So that would time out a little bit better. But I also had another class that I was working on, so I decided that I would fast track that class, finish that class up, and that was my line and wash botanical class, which I haven't really talked much about. But that is a class that I'm also planning on teaching in person next year, and I would like to start around in maybe January or February next year. I have talked to a local place where I can have classes, and I think it's going to work out. So, but I want to have the online class done first, because there'll be 12. I'm going to put 12 lessons in that as well. And then the in-person classes will be 3 series of 4 projects. I'll do 1 series, see if I like it, then I'll do the other 2 series if all goes well and I like it. But I do have a few of the pieces done that I can share with you, and hopefully with my new lighting it won't be blinding. But yeah, it's pen and ink. We do pen and ink. I don't know how much detail you'll be able to see with my lighting the way it is now, but you do pen and ink. We draw together. So each lesson will have usually about 3 videos. So the first video is we're sketching with pencil together. And then the second video is we are inking it with fine liners together. And then the third video, and sometimes third and fourth, depending on how much layering is needed, we do the painting together. So there's going to be a pattern for every single lesson. And if you don't want to draw, what you do is you just print out the pattern, which is the line work. So I scanned all of the artworks after I did the pen and ink, so that is there as a PDF for students. So you can print that out if you want to be able to look at that pen and ink line work as you're doing it. Or if you want to like transfer the outline with a tracing paper or a light box and then do the inking with me. So that way it will be applicable to those that want to draw and those that don't want to draw. So it can be a beginner level class if you just take the pattern and you transfer it over, or it can be a little bit more of an intermediate class if you want to do the drawing and then the inking and then the watercolor. I also think it's just going to be a nice just kind of like, let's make some art, show up and paint. That's what I'm going to call the in-person class. Is going to be called Show Up and Paint. So everyone's going to get a pattern and a piece of graphite paper and a watercolor greeting card, and they'll transfer the design, then we'll ink together and paint together. I think that'll be a really great kind of beginner in-person class. And I think it will work great for online classes, because you get a greeting card. It's a great way to practice. Then you can mail off the results, or you could even scan them and make your own note cards out of them if you want to. I think that's a good thing. I don't know. Channeling Martha Stewart. Oh, but you know, obviously, if you're drawing it and then you're inking your drawing, it's going to be a little different than mine is. It'll be similar, but it'll be different. I mean, even if you take my pattern and you ink it and you paint it, it's going to be a little bit different. So there's that room for being putting your personality into it and whatnot. But you've got that backbone, that good foundation and structure of here's how you draw it, here's how you ink it, here's how you paint it. So I think that'll be good, and I think it will be this season of the year and this season of life for a lot of us is just hectic, and to be able to just pick one of 12, and you can go in any order you want. Pick one out of 12 lessons. You're like, I'm gonna spend the next hour. I'm going to do this project. I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to shut the door. I'm going to put and it's the same as supplies that we used in the 30 Days to Better watercolor class. So I know a lot of people have those supplies. We're using inexpensive paints. We're using the Miele watercolors. Of course, you can use whatever you want. You don't have to use these. We're using watercolor greeting cards. We're using the same brushes. Just adding the fine liners basically to what we had in the 30 Days to Better painting. So if you loved the 30 Days to Better painting class because it was a half an hour, you know, sit down with your supplies, paint for half an hour, and then you're done. If you like that, then I think this will be a really good companion piece too. Also, I think if you liked the watercolor floral workshop, this would be a really nice companion class because the watercolor floral workshop was all loose watercolors. This is starting with a drawing and a foundation that way, and then doing the watercolor on the pen and ink. Once you get the structure of the pen and ink, that does all the heavy lifting. Then adding the watercolors is like, it's just a pleasurable, enjoyable, very relaxing, very meditative. I think it's going to be a very relaxing, meditative class. So that should be up in a couple of weeks, honestly. I'm about 2/5 done on that one. And the workflow on that is very smooth. It's going really well. And sometimes things just hit at the right time. And prepping, some classes just go so smooth, and other ones is kind of like this constant friction. And I mean, I think because it's watercolor, I'm very comfortable with it, and I'm very, it's a very go with the flow type of medium. Anyway, I think it's going to be a really nice class, and I think people are going to really enjoy it, and it's going to be kind of a relaxing, mindful class. And yeah, and that's what I need in my life right now, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So stay tuned for that. When it comes out, I'll do a video about it, and I'll mention it on Sat Chat, and I'll do a 50% off launch discount for everyone that wants to, you know, buy it during the launch period. And yeah, look for that coming up. What else do I have to mention? I did a video about oil sticks this week, just kind of what they are. Something else I did have to show. Oh no, can I spin this around? Let me see. So, what's going on here, Lindsay? Those are my oil pastel cabinets or drawers, and I took all those out and I brought them into the room of hoard where when I was making more oil pastels. I mean more oil sticks, because I was using the pastels for the wax in my concoction, but I didn't want to use too much oil pastel because it has a non-drying oil in there, and I really gotta make sure I have more linseed oil than whatever oil is in the pastels to make sure that it does dry and it becomes permanent. But while I was at it, I'm like, I have them separated by color. My oil pastels and my soft pastels are separated by color, but as the collection has grown, because I review products and I'm curious and I like to try things, the collection grows and I add it in, and then it's like, okay, I have to have all of these trays, I have to have 10 trays out on my workspace just to do a painting because I need to have all my colors, but I don't need like 5 versions of this crimson red. There's so many duplicate colors. And then I think with the oil pastels, it's very similar to what goes on in the watercolor world. I think there is some really popular white labelers that make products for a lot of different brands. Like a lot of the oil pastels I like are very similar, and they're very similar to the Mungio Gallery soft oil pastels, and I think that a lot of these oil pastels are made by Mungio. So essentially I do have, it's like the same pastel from like 5 different companies with 5 different wrappers, which I'm not complaining, because if they're good and I like them, then great, that's great, but I don't need that many out taking up space on my desk. So my plan is, I went through, and this took me days, not like 8-hour days in a row, but like I would go and work for a couple hours, and I have like big sheets of paper. I've made swatches on it. Like I put them all in rainbow order, and then I put like all like Prussian blue oil pastels, you know, I like put them by color, like all the colors that were the same next to each other. So my plan is to take a tray, like a tin, maybe like some sort of tin or box that I have that I've saved from some other media that I've decanted into some other storage solution. And I want to make the one tray to rule them all, the one box of oil. Oh God, my hair is just a flat, unseemly mess right now. Though I want to make a tray of oil pastels, but just have like one of each color. This is a revolutionary. Why don't they sell them like that? Oh wait, they do. I just have combined all my oil pastels because I thought that was a great idea. And it probably was at first, but then it got out of hand, like many of my ideas do. Hence oil sticks all over the place. So I want to have one tray that's got one of each color, or maybe even two of some colors if I wanted like a hard and a soft version. So like for white, for instance, I might have a white Sennelier and a white Pentel, or a white Neopastel, so I have a harder and a softer of certain colors, but basically just kind of like one of each color. So I have the most versatility and the smallest footprint. And then if I want to go plein air painting, I could just grab that. I could just grab that tray, not because I never take oil pastels plein air. I either do oils, which I'm thinking oil sticks make way more sense to do plein air than oils. But I usually, if I'm doing plein air, I'm doing watercolor or I'm doing pastel. And I have a set of pastels that I love for plein air. And I have a tray that goes into my French easel that's all set up for soft pastels. And I like the Jerry's Autorama Soho soft pastels. Those are great because they're right in the middle of the road, like for softness and hardness. They're not very dusty. They're really wonderful for that. I think Jack Richardson might make them. I'm not sure, but they're nice. Maybe Mungyo makes them. Who knows? They're a nice pastel. I do like them. And yeah, then I have a drawer that's just oil supplies that I will put in there. I haven't done oil plein air in years. But that drawer sits with the oil paints in them, waiting for Fantasy Lindsay to get her act together. And yeah, so I think something like that for the oil pastels would be nice. Anyway, they're all still on my table in the room forward, along with the stenciled backgrounds that I have yet to make cards with. So I've got a lot of things I want to do. I don't know how many of those things will get done. It's just one of those. You know, when you have more ideas than you do time to execute them. And then, I don't know what you, sometimes I'll buy something as if buying this thing is going to magically give me the time to use it. And I really have to be careful of that because that's something that's a little like, if I'm like really busy, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. So I'll buy something. It's like, that doesn't give you the time. It just gives you the stuff. And it gives you less time to do all the other stuff you want to do because you just added more stuff onto your pile, on your to-do list. So yeah, it's kind of nuts. I need a tissue. Oh my goodness, I am like so layered up. It's getting cold. It's unseasonably cold this week in Maine, and I've got layers. I've got leg warmers, jeans, t-shirt, sweater. Had my puffer coat, hat, gloves. Oh, I'm not ready for the cold weather, but you know, that's coming, ready or not, I guess. Nothing you can do to stop it, but I don't like it when it's unseasonably cold because it's like, come on, our winter is so long as it is. How about some unseasonably warm fall and then, you know, don't get us cold too quick. And I mean, and I know global warming, I feel bad even saying that because there are going to be people that are going to be like, well, the earth is warming up, so you should be grateful for cold weather. So, but I'm not grateful for cold weather. I'm not. Oh my goodness. Trying to think what else have I got going on. I did the review for the tonic watercolors. That was my most popular video. The last 10 videos, that was the number one. So I'm kind of glad because that is it's a small company. It's made in the USA. It's high quality product. It's nice because a lot of times the things that are really popular on YouTube are the really cheap novel products, and I get it. It's fun to have something cheap and cheerful, something that you can afford, something you can buy without agonizing over it. But oftentimes those things tend to be things you forget about because you didn't put that much thought into buying it. So it arrives and you maybe swatch it out and use it a couple. And I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm not judging anybody else, but you know, and you're so excited for it, you buy it and you use it. Oh, this is great. This is awesome. And then you kind of forget about it because the next thing comes out that's great and awesome. And I am so guilty of that. So it's kind of nice that something that, you know, you're not just going to plunk down $95 for that set without thinking about it. And because you're putting more thought into it, you're more likely to use it when it arrives. At least that's how it is with me anyway. So anyway, oh yeah, I'm just looking, I've got fabric folded up on my little project cart. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make some pillowcases for the upstairs living room pillows. I have so many things I want to do, but just not enough hours in the day, and a lot of hours spent driving to hospitals, because my parents live about an hour south from me, and then their hospitals are even further south than that. So it's a bit of a hike, but we all have to do it. That's part of life. That's part of it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to mention. I will be doing a artist gift guide video this year, and I don't know what I have a few things pulled out for that. I think everything I've posted in the last couple of years have all still stands a test of time. So if you are needing to do some holiday shopping early and you want to go check out the older videos, those are all still good things. Some things will even come back into this one, but yeah, I haven't got to that yet, and I have a few other things I want to try out that I think might be good for the video that are new, because I know people are looking for newer things, especially if they're buying for somebody that seems to have it all. You want to get something they haven't seen yet. So hoping to have that one out by the beginning of November to give people plenty of time. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a list, so I'm feeling a little bit off my game. I'm feeling a little bit off my game anyway, just because it's been such a tumultuous month. But we're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. Other than Dad in the hospital, I'm doing really well. Feeling pretty good. Wish it was warmer, but you know, I live in Maine, so you can't really complain about that. When you live in Maine, you can't complain about cold weather. Yeah, I guess that's all. Hoping to get another couple videos recorded for that class before I head down to the hospital this afternoon, and just keep your ears peeled for that announcement. I will announce it to my email newsletter, my Substack newsletter first when the class is available. So and also that's probably where I'll announce it first for my in-person class. I'll have a limit of like 12 to 16 people. I think I've got to go look at the classroom space again, because they were saying that they can accommodate 12 to 16 people, but I don't know. I have a setup to teach 20, but there's definitely not that much room. I've got to just make sure there's actually, make sure of the space before I advertise that class. But that will be, obviously we'll have a limit because it's in person, but it's also in Maine and we don't have many people up here. So you have a good chance of getting into that class if you are local and you want to take it. And of course you could always just privately just email me like, I want a spot absolutely for sure, and I will save you a spot. But yeah, that's exciting because I miss people. I miss being in a classroom with people, and I hope it works out. And maybe I'll branch out and do the class a couple different locations if it's really popular. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows where our life will lead us, right? It's all a journey. It's all a mystery. We're all stories in the end, so let's make it a good one, to quote one of the doctors, Doctor Who. I hope you have a great week, and let me know what you're up to in the comments below. I'll try to get back to as many as I can, maybe even all of them, who knows. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!